Some movie villains are so iconic, they haunt us for a lifetime. Some actors can take a character and create nightmares from it. And one in particular that still is legendary to this day, Julian Beck. Today, we're here in New Jersey, more specifically Cedar Lawn Cemetery. We're here to find the final resting place of Julian Beck. Now, he did play one of the most iconic horror villains that really petrified audiences in Poltergeist Part 2. Julian was born in 1925 in Manhattan. Now, he attended college for a brief amount of time, but he decided to skip out on that because he wanted to pursue other things like his passions, of writing and art. In the 1940s, he was actually a painter, and it was at this point in his career that he ended up meeting his wife. Now, the two of them would go on to found the Living Theater. The Living Theater would actually move out of New York due to him and his wife owing back taxes to the IRS. Now, they would go to court for this, but the jury would ultimately decide that they were guilty. Now, Julian would go on to write books of poetry, and, he had several spots in his acting career. But the one that we most know him for is playing Reverend Henry Kane in Poltergeist 2. Let's talk about the Poltergeist movies for a second. Now, when the first one came out, it was terrifying, but it lacked one thing, that iconic villain that you can really just be scared of, right? And most people think that the Poltergeist movies were cursed because they used actual human bones on the first one. And by cursed, I mean there was a lot of deaths that occurred to like actors and the actresses that, were acting in these movies. One being Heather O'Rourke herself. And, the death of Julian Beck, who we're talking about today. Now, whenever Poltergeist 2 came on the scene, Julian Beck was just, you would see even certain scenes. The first one is the drawing that Caroline's doing of him.
What you drawing, honey?
Don't know. He would just appear walking, but really he didn't need to be that threatening villain. He didn't need to portray something so menacing. He just did it by his appearance. And the reason his appearance was that way was because while Julian Beck was actually filming Poltergeist 2, he was dying. Reverend Kane was initially the human form of the entity, the Beast, in Poltergeist 2. Now, what made him so terrifying was the fact that Julian Beck was so gaunt. He had sunken eyes, and this was all contributing to the fact that stomach cancer was eating away at his body. Now, he would actually go on to pass away 8 months before the completion of the movie. So in post-production, they actually had to get some of the lines re-recorded by a sound-alike voice actor. Here he is. Right here. Next to his wife, Mr. Julian Beck. 1925, 1985. And down here on the bottom, it says actor, painter, poet, anarchist, pacifist, playwright, and visionary. Now, one that they should have put on here that seemed fitting would have been the Beast, right there in between all of that, because that's what he was iconic for. It was reported that the first time Julian Beck came onto set for Poltergeist 2, Heather O'Rourke, that played Caroline, when she saw him, she actually cried out because she was so scared of him.
Wow. Don't worry, I've only got cancer. I'm not really supposed to look like this. Not really a scary guy.
I mean, but
that's what I would say.
That's what made, his character so terrifying in the movie, was the way he looked. And I mean, it's sad that it had to be contributing to an illness like stomach cancer.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I always wondered how they got him to look like that. Like I figured it was like any other, production, like makeup and everything has kind of sucks now, knowing that it was because of stomach cancer. Like he was dying while he was making the movie, and that's why he looked so scary like that. And it's like, it kind of ruins the movie a little bit. Like now you can't watch it and be like, now you're like, now I'm sad.
Yeah.
Because this sucks.
Because the first time you see him in the movie, she's actually sketching a picture of him. And, it's like a color picture, and it's just pretty creepy. And then you see him like walking like in different parts of the movie. So he doesn't really do anything like other villains like Freddy, where he would like jump out thing. It's just him just doing regular things, but it's still terrifying because all you need is that toothy grin that he would do in the movie. So
hi.
Are you lost, sweetheart? Are you afraid, honey? Well, why don't you come with me?
Honey, what is it? Mom, I want to go home.
I really like his, the way the writing is. It's not like you're playing, like pan over here. It's not like you're plain everyday Tombstone writing like this one, and all of them really in this line, in this area. Plain text, plain writing, His is like I would imagine this is his actual signature.
Yeah, it's very kind of artsy looking.
Yeah, I mean, even his wife's right here, like the way the font is, it's almost like
they wrote it.
Yeah, they wrote it and then they put it in here. And then like his brother, or her brother, whoever.
This one's 1950. Could be son.
Could be son. Well, I just guess because it says blood brother, but could be son. But his actually looks like how Hanna-Barbera or Jim Henson would sign the H and stuff in the name. But I like how all three of them say actor and poet, pacifist and anarchist. Like all three of them.
Hers says muse.
Like they all have that in there. Actor, they have anarchist, pacifist, and poet. It's just his is a painter and playwright and visionary, whereas hers is a director, diarist, and a muse, and then his is a director and a playwright and a utopian.
We just, did some research real quick, and we were both real wrong.
Let's just point out, okay, so this is our man right here. This lovely lady who has really nice handwriting. This is not his wife.
That is his wife.
This is his wife.
Yeah.
I thought this was...
No.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, you are partly correct. So our man, his wife.
Okay.
After Julian died.
Oh, she remarried.
This is her other husband right here.
Oh, so she buried in the middle.
She's married. Yeah, she's buried in between her men.
And she 24 years older than this guy. She is. And he still died before she did.
So it's interesting that, you know, you run across the graves like this, because whenever I was researching Julian Beck, they actually had an open marriage. Like, Julian Beck was, while he was married to her, he was actually having a relationship with an actor. And they also had a relationship with, I think it was a shipyard worker who was involved with Andy Warhol. So yeah, it was a very freeing relationship right here.
Okay.
To each is their own, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Well, that does it for this video on Julian Beck. I still hate that he looked like that in the movie because of the stomach cancer. It really, for me, it really does kind of take away from it, because you know it now, know that it's not makeup and it was actually him dying, and you're like, well, it's still a cool villain and a good scary movie, but it makes it a little more sad that knowing that he was like passing away from stomach cancer. But I did find the whole open marriage thing with Andy Warhol's person, and that was interesting. And I did like his handwriting on his tombstone. That's pretty cool. Well, shout out to our VIP Road Warrior patron, the Crypt Lady. Thanks for your patronage each month. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching this video. Give us a like, give us a comment if you knew about Julian Beck. And we'll catch you down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.